Welcome back to the channel. This week we have a look at winter oats, winter beans and winter wheat. Sorry for a lack of videos in the run up to Christmas, but turkeys were particularly distracting this year and quite difficult. So anyway, we have survived. We've moved on back to regenerative arable farming. So this field is one of our experimental fields for this year. This is where we broadcast on spring oats, trying to get them to grow up in an effort to mirror crimping, where you lay the crop flat and suppress weeds. So that's what we're trying here. Unfortunately, I think that the black grass is too strong. We knew it was going to be a heavy black grass pressure in this block. It's one of the reasons we went on for it, went for the experiment. And we also knew that it's going to be relatively late. It's in heavy land, holds the moisture. So that's why we chose this block. But let's just have a look on the ground. So as you can see, there are patches like this where the black grass has basically taken over. It's difficult to see the difference between the oats and the black grass in the frost. But here we go. That would be an oat. A bit thicker leaf rather than this finer one here in the black grass. But yes, suspect it's not quite good enough. Now, actually, I wanted to show you something else which just happened upon. So a little bit of background on this field. It's got a huge amount of drainage underneath it, but none of it works very well. And the reason I'm out here is these hedges you see all the way around. This is actually a boundary up here with our neighbours, and it's quite a wide hedge. It's about 10 feet deep. His fencing isn't very good on the other side, and we've been in discussions about his need to re-fence it and whether I could pollard the hedge and chip it before he re-fences. So I just wanted to have a look. However, whilst I was here, I thought I'd have a look at the oats, and unfortunately I've seen more gullying. So let me show you this. So there are one, two, three, four, 5 gullies here. They're quite significant. If I put my boot in, they're sort of more than the depth, the sort of ankle depth gullies. Fortunately, I know why. So if we go up here, so as I was saying, the drainage in this field is not great. Even though it's got a lot of underground drains, they're all sort of failing. And we believe this drain comes out this ditch and discharges in the corner into my neighbour's field. But this is the interesting thing here. We've spent quite a lot of effort on this over the years. But you can see this washout from my neighbour. Let me just try and see, it's all topsoil washout. And this here is the drain. So we need to get in here and clean this out. We have to clean this out probably once every 2 years. It's quite an undertaking. It goes across the field, and unfortunately it's very easily blocked. So we are looking at cutting the tree shears in, cutting all the way around, and then having a big chipping session. So a little bit of a disappointing start to that experiment. I don't think we're going to get sort of what we want out of that. The question is, there's been some discussions about failure of cover crops and treating them more like cash crops and establishing them properly, I think that would definitely apply to this field. Having said that, you know, we were already on the back foot and we just tried to spring the oats on. So we possibly I can put my hand up to that one and say that one's my fault. But onward and upward, let's see what the other crops have in store. So there's a change in soil type roughly where the long grass is. Above that, it's something to do with where the clay for the vale runs up about against the chalk for the beginning of the Chilterns, and there's a massive spring line all the way down roughly on this headland tram. The worst spot is this one here. As you can see, a bit of a rut. I don't think we just plant round this hole. The problem is these springs move during the year, so this is sort of our best case scenario of where it is and why we can't crop the last of that headland. Hopefully that gives you a bit of understanding of just how tricky this field is, but it's some lovely dirt and I'm sure it would grow some great crops if we could just get it to drain. The problem is, although there's a fall across the field, there's not much depth in the ditches around the outside in order to get the water away, and that's really our challenge. Good morning everybody, it's Sunday the 12th of January and I'm out in a field of winter beans where we planted into spring oats that we'd spun on. So I just wanted to give you a bit of an update in how the crop's going. As you can see, the beans are coming up nicely now. Obviously compared to last year where we planted in beginning of October compared to this early November drilling, we are somewhat further behind. I think obviously it's going to have an impact on yield, but I'm pleased to see them come through quite well. Good distribution in the row. There's been very little bird damage, and this week we also finished doing some of our costings for our benchmarking, and the gross margins from some of the winter beans are really encouraging, and they were some of the best crops for this year. So I'm just going to put that up on the screen. We'll do a special on that gross margin analysis later on, but beans are an increasingly important crop for us now that we seem to have improved their establishment. So sorry I haven't been able to do more videos, but this week actually we had really quite considerable frosts, and it's kind of covered up the crops. I had wanted to do a walk around the winter wheat to show you how that was getting on, but really it was so frosty I haven't really been able to show you anything at all, even up to quite late this morning. So even though the frost has come out, the ground is still hard. We've been down as low as -6 and 7, so that's been really good for pest control, especially the slugs. That's really good, but for as far as videos, not so good. So a bit of an apology in advance. I'm going off a shoulder surgery this week, and it is my camera holding arm, my right arm, so that's going to put me out of action for a little bit. So I apologize in advance, and hopefully we will be able to return to normal in February. So good luck to everybody as they wait out the winter. And morning everybody, it's Sunday the 19th. Sorry I didn't get a video out last week, but just to explain, the hand operation has happened, or the shoulder operation has happened, but last week I apologise for not having footage of the winter wheat because of the frost, and therefore I thought now we're out and it's not frosty, although it's not particularly sunny, I thought we'd just have a quick look at this winter wheat. So as you can see, this is winter wheat. It's X-days. It is light land. It was drilled with a Claydon, hence the wide road spacing. It was, I think, at about 185 kilos a hectare, and as you can see, it's all coming up quite nicely. We haven't actually done a plant count on this yet, but just for those of you who are new to the channel, we've done square test population counts before, and it's clearly shown that direct drilling establishment rates are closer to 50% than the industry standard of 80, and therefore we crank up our seed rates considerably higher. So that's something for another day, possibly when I've got my arm working properly. But just to say, all the winter wheats are looking surprisingly good. So thank you for sticking with us during the Christmas break. Hopefully with the shoulder operation I'll get up and running soon. I will see most of you at base conference, if not before. Happy New Year. See you next time. Bye.